everyone for joining us today for this chat show. And we really are very happy to have with us today our very favorite person in Sydney, Dr. Maza Hamidi. We all call him Mike, and he's very young at heart, despite having many number of years of experience in so many things. But I think it's just a great honor to have you with us today, Mike.
Thanks for the beautiful invitation. I don't deserve all these good things you just mentioned. I'm just a very sort of ordinary, insignificant person. But my best asset is that you talk to me, and that's a lot for me anyway. So I'm actually pleased to be here, and I'm going to spend a bit of time answering your questions or whatever.
Thank you so much, Mike. I think it has been a great year last year, just getting to know you in person. And the more I know about you, the more I get very impressed by your whole journey to Australia. How did you groom yourself into such a noticeable, such a remarkable doctor, among many other things? You are such a big philanthropist. People love to invite you over for their shows. You are such a big promoter of music, art, and culture. And beyond all this, you are such a very warm friend. People just love to have you around. You have such a great, warm personality. And I just thought that it will be a great inspiration for our Bird Inspirations talk show to have you on the show with us today, so that a lot of new migrants or people who are trying to build their inroads into Australia will get to know from you and your journey.
Yes, I was born in as a state called Tonk in Rajasthan, which used to be Rajputana. Right, Tonk is like Tonk. Tonk is about 60 miles from the outskirts, 60 miles from Jaipur, the pink city. Then, so my eldest brother, actually, he was in Aligarh University. He was studying up there when the partition happened, and he was put on a train and sent to Pakistan, to Karachi. He knew no one there. So he used to write, actually, some far relative was living there, and he used to write to my mother, actually. He said, come down and please come. So my father was the only child. So my mother, actually, I think from memory, we didn't go there till about 1950 or bit after 1950. My mother went with the children. I was very little, so I went up there with them. And my maternal side was a huge, big family. They still are, hundreds of them.
Okay.
They never moved. They stayed in in India. They still are up there. And they were actually, in fact, my maternal uncle was he was a member of parliament, actually. He passed away now, but they were involved in the local politics, the Indian politics. Now, so I got my my education in a city called Hyderabad, my medical education in Hyderabad, which is not the Andhra Pradesh or Telangana Hyderabad. This is Hyderabad, Sindh. And I graduated, actually, it used to be very sort of very small class of only 64, because that was run by the General Medical Council of Great Britain. And I graduated in 1969. Then I did 1 year of residency, medicine, and in surgery. Then I was fortunate enough to get a job as a ship surgeon. So I joined a shipping company, and that used to sell from that. I was the first ever doctor of that newly built ship. It was a cruise liner, very luxury liner, one class called Coral Princess. There is another Coral Princess, but not the one I'm talking about. That was quite good. So we used to sell from Yokohama to Yokohama. Mostly we used to go to various Pacific islands. I think mostly the Japanese people. There were 100% Japanese passengers, and the rest of the staff, they were mixed, but mostly Japanese officers. They were Japanese. So we went to, like, from Yokohama, we used to travel to Hong Kong. Every trip went to Hong Kong and Singapore and Taipei and Saipan and Mariana Group Island, Guam, and as far as Hawaii.
Okay.
So I was actually lucky to make some good friends in various places. I met the governor of Guam, and he became quite good friend. They were very sort of humble, ordinary type of people. You cannot actually say that he was the governor. You can't actually when you look at the colorful T-shirt and or shirt and shorts and thongs and so the he actually, I also met President Nixon. Richard Nixon was the President of the United States at that time because he stayed at the governor's place. I'm not telling you to impress you or anything, but what I'm just saying to impress upon you that if a man from a humble sort of beginning from an ordinary place, if he wants to do something and he got the determination of making the most of the time, and he can do it. It's not very difficult. So anyway, the governor of Guam, he wanted me to start working in Guam. It was the state of the United States.
Mhm.
So I was in, I think, yeah, I was in Hong Kong. The PNR liner came called Canberra, and
Okay.
there was Australian doctor actually came and he said, "Oh, what's your plans?" I said, "I'm going to start in Guam." He said, "Listen, there's a job going on Australian shift, and you'll never have the time to actually see that part of the world, and you'll never have the money actually to spend that kind of money. So why don't you go work there?" And that appealed to me. So I arrived in Australia. So I got the job, and I arrived in Australia on 10th of June 1972.
Oh, wow.
At, yeah, at that time, Opera House wasn't open, not finished. It was being built all what you see in Sydney, there was nothing there, nothing. So I'm not taking the credit that I built everything, but what happened, that was all went up in front of me. There was only one, from memory, one Indian grocery shop in Bondi called, and that used to close on Saturday because that was owned by Jewish people, so we couldn't do anything. There was one Indian restaurant in Joe Street, and you go down the street, and then you'll see that one that was owned by Chinese people. So there was nothing else. So I started. I've seen the development, right from the very beginning. Then at that time, I think I got a job. I started working in Newcastle.
Okay.
Uh, I worked at Newcastle Martyr Hospital for about 9 months, and there was big shortage of doctors. They were crying for doctors anywhere. So there's a seaside suburb in Newcastle called Stockton.
Hmm.
It was a shipbuilding. Okay. Um, Please interrupt me if I keep talking because
Yeah, I was going to pause here because I'm quite curious that you have drifted so much as a seafarer, done so much of, traveling in from India to Pakistan and then to different countries through your jobs.
yeah,
There must be a time when you would have felt lonely or isolated, or you might have felt like uprooted from your people. How did you go about, staying calm, or how did you find in yourself the energy and the motivation to keep going in the direction you were going? Because it seems to me that there was a lot happening in your life. So
yeah.
how did you keep it all together as a very, very fresh, young person out there in the world?
That was the answer to this question is very simple. Naturally, I was very young at that time, very enthusiastic, very keen to see the world, to meet the people which I met on the ship, almost all nationalities, different people. When I came to Stockton, the general practice, the work is 7 days a week actually, mostly. So that kept me so busy that I did not have much time to think about loneliness. But naturally, you miss your family, most importantly, your friends and everything else. Uh, but every year I used to go back to Pakistan, but I always went through India. I went to India first
Okay.
because at that time things were not, they're quite easy. I
Mm-hmm.
used to see all my relatives there, and then I go to Pakistan, see my family. My parents are alive, and I think I did that for 10 years every single year. So
Wow.
much so, some people who saw me there in Pakistan once in my old medical school, they said, "Oh, so where you working?" I said, "Oh," they thought I'm still working there in that hospital. They said, "You're always here." I
Yeah.
said, "I come once a year."
Okay.
So, well, but when my parents passed on, then after that, everybody is all scattered. Some are here, some are there, some everywhere, and there's nobody there. Friends are gone.
Hmm.
They're not in Pakistan. So, but the reason I kept saying was that I kept myself very busy at work.
Yeah.
Number two, I had a trip back home quite regularly on yearly basis. Naturally, I haven't been there for quite a while. I did go there, means every few years, but not every year. After the parents have gone, I still go there whenever I feel a little bit, homesick. You can call it. Yeah, I still go there for a few
Okay.
weeks, but then again, I get homesick for Australia.
Absolutely. I think since I have got to know you last year, I have seen you showing up to most of the invitations. You are the first person on the first row of the guests, encouraging the artists, encouraging the organizers. You
Yeah.
are always full of enthusiasm for everything that is happening. It's really commendable because at certain point of time, even if our heart is young, our body starts to feel the stress and the whole fatigue of the whole physical activity of actually dressing up, showing up. But how do you do that? How do you find so much of enthusiasm for variety of things that life has to offer you?
Not only they will have got a hope to succeed, they are going to succeed 100%. They'll succeed because when they come to this country, which I tell everyone, they do. I'll put it for myself. When we come to this country, we sacrifice a lot of things. We sacrifice our family, we sacrifice our friends, our food, we sacrifice, as I said to you, that there was no Indian restaurants here.
Yeah,
Now every second, means you don't worry about the food is there.
yeah,
But you sacrifice your music, your movies, your entertainment, your associateship. After all this big sacrifice, you have not come here just to live day to day, live on the dole, or do nothing without any ambitions. Naturally, they all got ambitions, and if you got the ambitions, you had the ambitions, make yourself better to come to Australia, then you should have the ambition and desire to do something better. But for that, having said that, but for that, I still believe that we need some kind of support. Really, we need somebody to guide us, to tell us that yes, you can do it. Yes, things are hard. It's a hard road, but you can do it. And this is where I personally believe that there has got to be some kind of organization. Unfortunately, I don't know very many people who are doing it, but
mhm,
that's vitally essential because after coming to a new country and new place and everything is very, very new, naturally it has some consequences, and basically most of the consequences are mental. When you start thinking quite lonely, quite frustrated, and your mind actually sometimes revolves, they start thinking quite negative things. It is but natural, really. I mean,
yeah,
I'm talking about my personal experience. Whenever I
yeah,
get a chance, when I'm not doing anything, then I said, oh, what am I doing here?
yeah,
Have I made a right decision? Should I go back?
yeah,
Now, if I go back, I'll be a laughing stock. Everyone think that, look, he went down to get something. So I couldn't settle myself actually to go back there or to stay there. But I did not have any kind of support. I don't know whether there's any sort of organization or any associations where people can go there and they can be encouraged, they can be helped, they at least listen to them.
yeah.
And
There are nowadays quite a few such organizations like CMRC, and then there is a company like Bird that I'm trying to float, which is also trying to help people to get resettled from their countries, to get
yeah, yeah,
jobs, to get motivated if they feel lonely or they feel any, lack of confidence. Then we just try to help them out by training them and guiding them through our programs. So yes, slowly the awareness about helping these people
yeah.
is coming up. There are organizations supported by government agencies to help
Uh,
them as well. So it's great. But I'm sure that in the 70s, when you were here, things were not really as rosy, and people would really have to dig deep within themselves to have the confidence and the courage to just, continue striving for success.
yeah,
Yeah, so this brings me to a very interesting tale of you having such a good experience with own medical practice that I understand that you have hold the record in the whole world of treating 5 generations of people.
Oh,
How
yeah,
did
that
that happen?
I said to you that is peninsula where I work,
Yeah.
and people actually they live there all their life, and actually, if and yes, so I used to get to know everyone. And yes, I'm quite actually can boast about this that I could be the only doctor in the world who's seen 5 generations of one family in one day, and they didn't even know they're coming.
Wow.
And because if they move away, some families they still keep coming back and back and back because they never change the doctor. They might
Okay.
have changed the suburb, they might even change the city, but
Hmm.
they still want to keep coming back, which was very reassuring that if you put something in the community, in your work, you will get it back. You
Yeah.
will, but provided that you just got that sort of aim, that goal, that uh, that you're going to actually be a part of it. And because I put my everything, heart and soul into my work, so I also have to really tell you one more thing that in all those years, there was not one single time or single instance when I was made to feel that I'm from some other country.
Wow. Wow. That's very nice.
Ever, ever. With the little babies, the little children, the elderly, means they never ever. But it didn't come it easy. I put something in.
Yes.
I put I put in the community and got it back. So some people, if they talk about any kind of like a discrimination, well, I didn't see any because I didn't discriminate anyone else.
Absolutely. I think since I have got to know you last year, I have seen you showing up to most of the invitations. You are the first person on the first row of the guests, encouraging the artists, encouraging the organizers. You
Yeah,
are always full of enthusiasm for everything that is happening. It's really commendable because at certain point of time, even if our heart is young, our body starts to feel the stress and the whole fatigue of the whole physical activity of actually dressing up, showing up. But how do you do that? How do you find so much of enthusiasm for variety of things that life has to offer you?
well, well, I said that whatever you put in life, you get the right return. If I put a lot of enthusiasm, that gives me a lot of energy, a lot of shakti, you can call it. I get it. I actually believe in love to the human beings, and I think that is, in fact, if my religion, everybody else's religion, just to care about the person, doesn't matter who they are, what nationality, what background they are. We are all Australian now of different ethnicity. So some are Australians of English ethnicity, some are Scottish ethnicity, some Indian ethnicity, some Chinese. So, but if we just treat them all just the same,
Yeah,
we get something from back, and that gives you a lot of energy and a lot of desire and a lot of strength to keep on going. And I think that's the only
absolutely.
thing it is really.
Absolutely, yes. And how about the art like music and writing, poetry? When I was young, when I was going through different states in India, when I was relocating to the countries like Singapore or Australia, one thing that
Yeah.
kept me going was music. There is always music to keep you motivated, happy, distracted, focused. To meditate, you need music. So I strongly believe that it has played a big role in my journeys across the nations. How about
Yeah.
you? Do you enjoy music and what role does it play in your life?
Yeah, the music actually it is the language of gods. देवताओं की ज़बान है. We pay tribute to our devatas through music,
Yes.
and so it has got a big, big part to play in our life. I don't think there will be anybody who's not interested in music or music touches their heart or touches their soul. Um, there are different times of the day you might like different type of music, but music is still basically a part. And I am actually so proud to say that our culture and our music. Our music is one of the most ancient and most fulfilling music in the entire world. I would say that because we are in an ancient country, we are going back for thousands of years, and the music has been going on for thousands of years, and it's all kind of music. It's not only one kind of music, but
Yeah.
all kind of music that
Yeah.
appeals to different
So,
group of people. Yeah.
so in your all these years, have you picked up? I'm sure you must be enjoying music from Pakistan, India, and English as well. So, what's your favorite genre when it comes to music?
What is my favorite? Sorry.
Music style. What do you like? Ghazals or pop or Bollywood? What's your favorite genre?
I mentioned that to you. It is in the different type of the day. It's a different music. It's different mood. It's different. So yes, I love ghazals. I love the classical music. I like semi-classical music. I even like the pop music. We have got a lot of Punjabi rock singers nowadays. One fellow came, he did not actually need any kind of introduction or promotion or anything, but he appeals to younger population. I think his name was Karan,
You're not
yeah,
sure.
is a
Hmm.
like a rock, Indian rock, but it's just like in any other country, in Western countries, in America, there are actually a lot of heavy metal and rock singers that appeal certain type of people.
Hmm.
But yeah, ghazals. When you talk about ghazals, Jagjit Singh was one of my most favorite artists. He really used to touch my heart and touch my soul,
Yeah,
and he still does. He is not around anymore, but he might be dead for people, but he will never die for he'll always live
absolutely.
in my heart. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. And I understand that you with this whole you romance life like a rock star. What is it that you have to say? I know you write as well. Is there any nazm or any couplets that you can share with us that share a bit about your love for life and how you live it?
Yeah, there's only one thing I would say that I miss living up there in Stockton with the 100% Anglo-Saxon white Caucasian population, not many Indians. Uh, or that I always loved some poetry.
Hmm.
And the my most of poetry, which I'm going to tell you one thing is I wrote it down, but I had no one to share with. Actually, that's something that was sad. But I used to enjoy writing it, and I used to recite in my own time.
Wow.
Um, Basically, they were actually in Urdu,
Hmm.
which is actually Urdu is not any kind of, it's not a language of any religion. It is in our language,
Very beautiful language.
Divan, yes.
Yes.
So yeah, so I'll only just tell you one little qita, just only for 4 lines of it. I've got that many really means you need a here for me. I'm looking for the audience for
Yeah.
that. Every poet is.
Yeah. Of course, we would love to. I would love to be your audience one of these days.
वो अर्ज क्या है
We shall.
कि चंद कलियां निषाद की चुनकर चंद कलियां निषाद की चुनकर मुद्दतों महव यास रहता हूँ
Wow.
मुद्दतों महव यास रहता हूँ तुझसे मिलना खुशी की बात सही तुझसे मिलना खुशी की बात सही तुझसे मिलकर उदास रहता हूँ तुझसे मिलना खुशी की बात सही तुझसे मिलकर उदास रहता हूँ
वाह क्या बात है
उसमें कभी आप चले आओगे ना
बहुत बहुत खूबसूरत lovely it just goes so well with Australia and the whole love you feel for the country that you have chosen to live in beautiful do you have any other advice that you would want to give to our listeners who might be still listening to you and trying to get motivated from the whole talk that we are trying to present.
Really, yes, and I must say I'm so pleased actually to see and to notice. When I first came to Australia, you will hardly find a doctor from the Indian subcontinent origin. you'll never find any really. There was none, especially uh, very, very, very few that started to come, but we will never see a specialist or anyone. But I am so glad to see and to notice now that I think that they have taken the number one place in the field of medicine. I'm not that
Wow.
sure about the other field, but actually, if you go to any hospitals or anywhere, you'll find, and especially a lot of ladies, a lot of women, and there are a lot of specialists who are homegrown, who are home here,
Yeah.
but they see their parents doing, achieving something, and which is a very good thing actually. It makes me feel very, very proud, really, that who I am and what my roots are, in fact, and we are, or some kind of asset to the community, to the country, to a new country.
Yeah.
Uh, because after all, Australia is a country now, because India might be the country of birth,
Yeah.
but Australia is an adopted country, and we've got same loyalty, more loyalty, because this is where we're going to live, this is where we're going to die, this is where children are going to be born. So we have to be a part of it. We have to actually and contribute something to the country, and we are doing it. And it is very sort of reassuring and very pleasing to see that. So got the determination to do something, and you're determined, you can do it.
Oh wow, you have just nailed it, because BIRD stands for bring in right determination. So whatever we do, we have to bring in the right determination, even if it's like coming to a new country, start your new life, start a new career. And just a last question on medicine as a profession. I understand that there are some countries where if you are graduated from those countries, you can practice in Australia, but there are some countries like India where you might still have to do some bridging courses to be able to qualify. Can you share a bit more about people in medical profession?
Yes,
What do they
yes.
need to be here? Yeah.
When I first came to Australia, there was nothing like that. You can just go to the medical board, give your name, address, and you come out. Means you must got parking meter the car park for 15 minutes, half an hour, and you have the full registration.
Wow.
But later on, now it is not that easy. You've got to do an exam, which are now in two parts, and plus the I think is oral examination as well.
Yeah.
um, you've got to prove yourself that your qualification meets the Australian standard, which is fair enough. So, but you'll be surprised to know that the majority of the people do that. Easy, not easy. It's not easy, but again, as I said, if we want, we determined to do something, we have taken a big step of coming down to the new country, settle down here, and we'll make new country home.
Yeah.
We should be prepared to put so much effort, so many hours, and so much time. If we get any help or encouragement from some organization, some people, some association, that will be great.
Yeah.
That some is there who can encourage us. You can do it, and some help actually more studies, a lot of studying. But I have seen lots and lots of studies that majority of it eventually pass and come into the medical, become an important part of the medical faculty in Australia and the
Okay.
community.
So those who have graduated from UK and what other countries who are allowed to practice almost immediately?
The people who can come and they don't have to do the exam, the UK people don't,
Mm-hmm.
and New Zealand, I think is another one.
Okay.
I believe that I'm not quite sure. It used to be South Africa, but I think they have to do the exam. But the Americans, they have to do the exams as well.
Okay.
Similarly, the Indians or anyone, they just have to prove to the public people of Australia
Mm-hmm.
that their qualification is just as good as an Australian graduate.
Okay, oh, that's great. Good to know that. So I think people will really need to prepare themselves much more in advance, make sure that they have all the right information about studying, from which country, what's the requirement before they even start thinking to practice in Australia.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but at the same time, as I said to you, that if there is any kind of help available to them, it will be great because it is a little bit of psychological trauma.
Yeah.
Like if I'm in India, I'm practicing, even if it's a specialist, and all of a sudden I'm faced
Hmm.
with the sort of test whether to prove myself.
Hmm.
Sometimes I said, what am I doing? Why should I be doing it? But if you got somebody there to guide us, to tell us that yes, and you got to do it, we are here to help you. So that will be a great. The mind is somebody who can address the stress issues, the mental issues, the acceptance issues, and then the create a momentum and determination for that. Saying, for me, saying these things are easy and simple, but to do it is very difficult.
Yeah.
We need mentor, we need help, we need guide, and we need that makes the things much, much, much easier.
All right. Yeah, I hope that this video is seen by the people who actually make the, further policies about migration, and they are trying to help people. We will
Yeah.
try to popularize it as much as we can so that the right people see what is required, and then they do the needful to be able to get the help across to the people who really need it. And
Yes, yes,
yeah,
yeah, because we have to put them in the right mental frame of mind. We are not doubting one little bit of their educational capabilities, but I think we just have to put them in the right frame of mind that they can do it and they can prove themselves. And for
absolutely.
that, we need help, actually.
Yeah.
Definitely need help.
Great, great. Thank you so much, Dr. Saab. I think it had been a great chat, and we really got to see a different side of you, which is so Shairana, so magical personality in general, and it just matches the whole aura that you carry around when people meet you. Thank you so much for today's chat and taking time out on a Sunday to be with us.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much, very, very much, Adab. Thank you, thank you,
Thank you
thank
so
you
much.
very